Yeah, so just to start with the last session we kind of treated started with Flexbox. We did some stuff around Flexbox, trying to reorganize our HTML file, preparing it to be ready for for Flex. And so this week we just continue with from where we stopped, responsive design. So responsive designs are ju- typical in a simple word, like how well your web application or your website is able to adapt to different screen size. Basically, imagine you have just look at in my screen, we have different screen size. How beautiful, how well our design or our web application adapt to the monitor, a monitor screen, or a tablet, or a laptop, or smartphones, basically. So this is what we are trying to talk about here, responsive design. So thinking ahead of your users, putting all the screen in consideration when developing. So your screen doesn't look scrabbled on different screen size looks very weird in some screen as well. So that's what we're going to talking about, just the design principles. So you create a plan which work like across all target devices. So you're trying to target all devices, the smartphone, large phone, tablet, desktop sizes. You're actually going to what you're going to select is the width of the breakpoint. So on different sides, you determine when to break your website or your web page to adapt easily to the new to the screen. Um, so some of the document the plan in your code. Like it's advisable to also add some comment maybe to understand in case you want to revisit, look at the code, understand which part of the code is doing a particular thing. So an example, there are two things. You do want to be a mobile first approach or a desktop first approach. So we know that most people now are on mobile. Most likely they want to access your application on the mobile. So it's very important to know the approach you want to follow. So mobile first, very common and popular in desktop first is it's phone use uncommon. Imagine, although there are some application or desktop app that are more appropriate to be done to be accessed on the desktop and not on the mobile. So those are some of the questions you need to answer before you know how to adapt to different screen. So typical fundamental limit there are three 320 pixels wide for the smallest device. So you handle potential very large width by using max width and centering them appropriately. So looking at the responsive design, I'm sure we're familiar with this one, the viewpoint. We must have seen this in our HTML file where we have the meta name, the viewpoint. So this one just telling us, okay, this content need to considering the width, the device, the initial scale as one as well. So this avoid simulated larger screen. So avoid fixed screen, some exception significantly smaller than screen dimension. There's some natural responsiveness, exactly. Like single column, flex pause. We did a bit of flex pause. See how it's able to look how we move from the our single page to like more beautiful or aligned design in the last session. So you can use FlexPod, FlexWrap for multiple line if needed. You can use Flex Direction for colon. So this one, I think we're gonna use this when we are trying to adapt a smaller screen. So it's breakdown in the right colon rather than row. So we can also use min max 20 250 pixel, one FR minimum of pixel, 250 pixel of dividedness for space evenly. So I think the last time we've not talked about CSS grid. I think we do a bit of it today. So CSS grid can use auto fit, create additional column with extra spaces, um, grid templates, column, repeat auto fit, and so on. So mobile first start with single column, then hard columns for wider display. Basically, yeah. If you want to start with mobile first, you start with single column because of the small screen. Then you have more column as the screen gets wider, basically. So one important thing that iPods adapt to different screen is called media query in CSS. So media query is used to adjust the CSS styling based on to apply the style based on a particular screen size. So that will help us reformat the our web app into a particular screen to fit in into a particular screen basically. So an example is you had a media holy screen, and we usually use mean width of can specify mean width and whatever is within this um, curly bracket overrides the original style. So it overrides the original style. Imagine you have this big monitor screen. So if you have a media query, when this then the size becomes 80 root rm root element, then it will adapt the screen or it will reformat override the original style of the big screen and reformat it using the styling within the overrides. So there are different between screen and print. So we have relative unit pixel like we said. So I don't know, does anybody know what relative units are? Just to start with, what do you understand by relative unit? Anyone? Let me check the chat. Someone's dropping a message.
It's based on the root element, I think, but I'm not sure what the root element is.
Okay, so the pixel. So why the pixel? So there are different relative elements. You can use root element. There's EM as well. There's FR. So this why the difference between relative unit and pixel is that relative unit increase like it adapt to the screen as the screen shrinks or expands. But when use yeah, you can have the percentage as well. So the percentage, like you can use percentage that are called all relative unit element, relative unit, percentage, rem, em, and so on. So in terms of adapting a design, it's advisable to use relative unit element or relative unit versus instead of the pixel. Pixels are like fixed, can be fixed to a particular screen. Hopefully, we're going to demonstrate that here. So the minimum weight covers the any greater weight, while the maximum covers lower. So there's a breaking point here. So weight range, which uses a particular layer scheme, is easy, less than 500 pixel or from 500 to 1000 or less than 1000 pixel. So hopefully we're going to just want to run through the theoretical part of it, then we can jump into some practicals basically. Yeah, so CSS grid, like we've treated flex boxes. They are like 2Ds. We've talked about 2D. Is it so no flex boxes are 1D while CSS grid are 2Ds. So 2D two-dimensional layout. So the styling applies to a grid container. So it can be a div item within the grid are direct descendant of the container. Like in the first thing we need to do is to change our display to a grid. If you remember the last code, when we wanted to convert our plain HTML to a flex box, we updated the display to be flex. So that gave it some feeling of flex. And for this one, we have to also update the display to be grid. Yeah. So there are grid templates you can apply to the container, grid template row, template column, and so on. So these are the gaps. Gaps give the you want to specify the appropriate gap between each grid, basically. So spacing between the grid can use column gap, row gap, or normal gap. This will apply on both the row and the column. Yeah, I think you should be familiar with this from the previous lesson. We have actually applied a gap for the flex one, flex box. So basically should be the similar. It's just act similarly to for the CSS grid. So implicit grid for extra item. You can have the grid auto row, grid auto column. Can also have an auto fit. This one just kind of grid template column, then repeat auto fit, the min max, blah blah blah. The min this is min max, this specify the max. So it's the other part is just how we could be able to debug. I believe we've already familiar ourselves with this. I do this almost in all the lessons. So we actually just inspect the developers options or tools. Then when you right click, just click inspect. So you should be familiar with this already. Manual weight adjustment. So if you want to adjust I did this in the last session as well. Can adjust the weight, can show it in different dimension, different screen. So media query breakpoint as well. So some common error or problem. We usually have minimum max and max width, mean width and max width. And styling which forces a minimum absolute width, specifying the entire screen width for an element, hardening images. So some of the issue with hardening images, object fit, and different images has breakpoints basically. So I think, do you have any question before we jump into um, the coding itself? Yeah. Any questions so far? No, thank you. I'm not seeing the chat. Let me see if I can. Where's the chat?
Hassan, can you explain the viewport part again? What does the viewport mean?
Yeah, so if you go back, so viewpoint is just like specifying the um what you want to how you want to screen. You want to specify how is it, it's just metadata, right? So you just need to specify the content, the width and the device, what do you want to adapt into. We need to update the width and the device so it will adapt in different type of devices. So the device weight and also you can also this is just like initial scale of one. Yeah, how do you want to scale? Is it you can have an initial scale, let's specify the scaling, one or two or depends. Or we can play with this and see how that works. Yeah.
Is that a required to have that property in order to have the responsive?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's required to have it. Yeah.
okay.
Okay, we can just see something and see how we are able to. Any other question before we go to the code? Yeah. Yeah, you can stop me at any time anyway if you have a question. So back to the code base. The last time we did was I think last time we actually just grouped we prepared our HTML file, if you can remember, to be flex ready. So we added this section to which is the profile order header. We added we grouped this into the profile main. We added three sections, one for the about me, one for the contact, one for the cause, whereas the cause and the contact are wrapped within the info row, which allowed us to be able to apply some styling for the info row. We changed it to a flex. Mostly they're all flex. The profile, let me see, profile itself should be, where is it? The profile head, yeah, the flex, and we change the role as well to be a flex. So to be able to adapt, remember I said we had a gap between the two rows in case you forgot how this look like. This is it on the screen here. I think it's just kind of bring this together. Let's see. Yeah, and this one this way. Yeah, so we can see the. So I'm running with the live server. So once we make a change, you see the result on the screen immediately. Yeah. Mm. So yeah, like we said, this is the viewpoint, and we specify um the content we want to adapt into it, basically. Yeah. So let me see. Just want to see where's the chart so I don't miss anything. Yes, so where do we pick up from? So what we wanted to do will be 1 second. Yeah, so yeah, let's start off from how this look in terms of responsiveness. So if I inspect this page and let me see, let's adapt it to this will give us a different view. So you can see how this look like not aligned on this screen. On the smaller screen, it's not aligned. I think you can try a more bigger one, bigger screen, iPad mini. It looks okay on an iPad from iPad screen upward. I think it looks at least okay. It adapts well. Yeah, at least it looks okay. But for a smaller screen, it doesn't look very good. So this is what we're gonna work on now and see how we can make it look good on mobile. So let's see. Let me go back to command. Let me see. Okay, come here. So what we can do, like we said, the first thing we need to do to make this work will be maybe to add a media query. So we can add the media. I think media screen. We specify. What do we need to specify there? We specify the width. We look at we specify the width, the max width. Yeah, the max width with six. Let's try with 600 pixels. And what change? Whatever CSS we added into these braces, we override the original. So we need to change. The first thing we need to change is the header. The header. So the profile hyphen header. So what do we need to change? We need to give it a flex direction. Flex direction. So let's see. Yes, I believe. Do we need to do a colon? So okay. Does it look okay for the header? Yes, no. Yeah. So it looks to me, it looks okay. Because what we just did there, we moved from this. Let me comment this. We moved from how it's being clubbed together and a more. So it's since it will stack them, it will stack each of them into a column. So that's what we have. We now have uh the the name, the student profile at the top, name and the image just below it. So the next thing we need to do, you can see that look like the about my looks okay, but it's a bit tiny a bit. Well, let's say the about me looks okay, but the two columns where we have the contact details and the course it looks not. I think I can't even. I have to scroll to the left see what that looks like. So we need to update. That is wrapped within the I think info. If you can remember. So this is wrapped within the info row. So I can add another styling that will override. So we can add info row. An info row with also we need just in the flex. We need to stack them so it will be stacked just below on each other. So we have a flex, I think a flex quest direction as well. Why do we need to set it to a colon as well? So it looks like this looks well presented on the mobile, and you don't have to you don't have to scroll to the left or scroll to the right. It just view like properly on the mobile. And I think for the image, what do we need to do to the image? Let's see if we can make it look be better. So for the image, MIA, then we have, let me take away this one. We can also update the width of the image. Let's see. Width, width of the image. Let me see. What happens if you say 100%? Yeah. So that's what happened to that width there. What do you observe? The width actually scaled 100% on the screen, the full screen, instead of, let me go back again, instead of just within managing some, there are extra spaces that needs to occupy. So we set that to be 100% and we say that it's widen, it's occupying all the space. We also set the maximum height. Maybe we don't need it to go too big. Because I set the maximum height to be 250 pixel, for example. Let's see. Maximum height with 250. Let's see how it looks here. One second, just try and see how well. So, yeah, okay, this look okay. So let's see if we also set the height. We could also set the height to be auto, auto, so that let me take away this. I just want to try something. Let's see how. Let's just squeeze it a bit. Uh, um. So this is how it look like here. The more, so you can see how well it adapts to different screen. So cool. So someone was asking, I just checked the chart. Would we use the RAM for font size instead of inside it? Yeah, you can make a lot of changes in there so that the the what is it called? Everything looks better and adapts correctly based on different screen. So you can, of course, it's advisable to use RAM instead of the Pixel. Yes. So so what we've done so far is that the media query applies these rules when the screen is. Let's try to see, trying to see if it shows the screen. Yeah, exactly. So let's see. So if you look at this at the top, it shows the screens. So we are currently at 659. So when the screen is 600, it's applied. They just keep observing. When will you apply this? The change? Not yet. Almost. Okay. So immediately we got to 600, the width of 600, it applied that change. So this is called an override. It override whatever style we've had before. So once we go to that screen size, sorry, it overrides yeah, the style basically. So um we can also play with the screen size if we want it to be depend I don't anyone interested to join or maybe I can just crack on. But let me see if I can create a link like here. Yeah, I think I have the previous link. What is the link here? Invite. Yeah, if you're interested to join, you can join through the link. Anyway, yeah. Um so where do we go from here? So we can also for like the like mentioned in the chat for consistency, like consistency. consistent typography, for example, like you mentioned, we can also update the we can also update our H1 and H2, and for example, where are you? H1, I think we have font to be 822 and 1.4. Thank you, thanks, Michael. Yeah, so I'm just trying to see what we can do. Um, so we can actually, so like I mentioned, some of the relative units. I'm just trying to see how we can apply them. So maybe let's see if, like you mentioned, we can decide to update our H1, H2, or H1, is it H1? Let's see. H1, for example, we could update it, say font size. Say, what was the current font size there? Come on, when we are on this, what is the current font size? Trying to see, can I? So let me just apply a font size. Let's say one, you can use RAM, 1.2 RAM. For example, does it change anything? I'll just make it one and try 0.1 point. So looks, you can also do the same for H2. Yeah, you want to see some, yeah. So this is just the whole essence of the media query, just for have and variety, can do so many things with it. So like I might not really have to this. Okay, look at what is happening there. We did it very wrong. So because I set it to 0.8. So we can have John Doe. This is our H2, and we set it to the same value. So you can have your overrides within this media query. So we can also try with other one like percentage, and now we tried percentage here. So we can also try like the other relative unit. So one second, we can also try, let me see, I did the info row. What do we have? Info row cost contact, the padding. So then we have a padding of 15%. How about we make it like 1 EM? What happened to it? Come on. Why is it going away? So adding the info. So it easily adapt, and we have the appropriate padding. I'm just want to see, maybe because I'm on this one, I'm not able to spread this properly. Where are you? Padding, yeah, this is the padding. Yeah. So we gave it the one hem. You can our allies just play with it if we want, so you can update it, and you can decide to make this better, add the navigation bars, and in case you want to share your CV, you can use it for a very short it's a profile or whatever. Yes, so I think that is that about media query, and we actually going to jump into another part of it, which is the CSS grid. So we talked about Flexbox, which is one directional, that is 1D, and the grid we mentioned is going to be a 2D, so two directional as well. So we have the row and the column. So for Flexbox, it's a row or the column. But for grid, we have row and column. So what do we need to do to replace or to convert our flex? our Flex implementation to if a CSX grid. So can anyone tell me? I think we mentioned it already while presenting. What do we need to do to update the Flex to a grid? Anyone? Anyone? No one? Are you there? Just
Is
be
it
just to be sure I'm not alone.
flex direction or oh,
Okay. So we need a what? A flex direction. No, we are trying to move from flex to CSS grid to a grid instead of flex.
oh. So is it column? This no.
Arturo said in the chat, change display flex to display grid.
Yeah, I just saw that. And thank you, Tara. Yeah, that would be the first thing to do. The first thing we need to do is to update the display. We can see we have a display, all of the display are currently flex. So we need to update the display to be, for example, let's target this role alone for now. So for this one, we can have a grid. We change it to a grid. So what happened? What do you observe from flex to grid? So this is a grid, and we can still maintain the gap, which still looks okay to be 20. What else we need to? We talked about the grid, a grid template. We could also add a grid template colon want it to be one FR one R. So imagine now we have the same result as the other way. So this is what our design. Remember, I shared a design where we have this is the result, or this is the result we are trying to achieve. So whatever framework, is it framework or CSS, this we are trying to use, we still want to maintain the design. So that means this grid, we specify the template colon to be one FR and one FR, which will give us the same result as the as CSS as a flex. So we could do the same thing for the other ones, but I think so what does this create grid template does? It creates create two equal columns. So it creates two equal columns. So we can, for example, let's see what happens if we change this to two. So this will occupy the two portion of the screen, and this is like one portion. So if you want this to be this, then what happen? Then they have equal colon again. They share the same color. So it works fine to just keep it at 1 1. Okay, you take one part, take one portion of it, take the other portion of it. So the content detail takes a portion, and the cost takes the other portion of it. So the other thing, let's see what happened with it in terms of responsiveness. Does it look okay in terms of responsiveness? Yes, no. Does it look okay? Let me go back and see it on the mobile. Yeah. Does it look okay now? It doesn't look okay anymore. So what do we need to do to make this look better? So we need to now go back to because we switched to CSS grid. So we need to have the grid template to also to the um on the particular screen size, which is 600. We're targeting 600 pixel. When the screen maximum screen is 600, then we need to do something here. So instead of a flex direction, we could do a grid, add a grid template column, which is one FR. Now we don't want it to share, just use one portion. There's no way you could manage two portions. So this, you can see that looks better, just like we did with our flex, with the flex direction. So we can use grid template colon to specify or how manage how this can be formatted, which I think looks okay now. So if you go back to this screen, 1 second. Yeah, now it looks better on a smaller screen. Do we have any questions so far? Any question? No, if you don't have question, I think I might have some question for you. So I just want to hear from you also. So what do you think media query has done for us today? Anyone?
It allows us to make sure that our website is responsive to different device sizes.
Cool. So what breakpoint did we use today as well? What breakpoint did we use? Any other person can I respond? What breakpoint did we use today?
Probably width.
Say that again, sorry.
Width probably as the break point that guide us when exactly that should be happen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we use a breakpoint, like I think we set the breakpoint to be a 600 pixel. And yeah, I think looks like our class might be our session might close early today, which is pretty much okay. At least we're able to achieve the goal of the lessons. Yeah. If you don't have any question anymore, any questions so far again, just before.
Yeah, I have a question, Hassan. When I was doing the home assignment of the previous week,
Okay.
the reviewer wrote me some commentary, and it was written, when working with HTML tags, keep in mind that tags have their own default CSS styles, which you may see in the browser's inspector and override if necessary. So that was the commentary. And can you give me some kind of probably commentary how to understand all of this or how to check these
Yeah.
things?
So this is the browser. So you inspect. Let me try to see what we've not applied this style. Let's go back to let's see. Let's add a new tag and see what happened. Where's HTML here? Let's try to add which tag. Can you suggest a tag we can ask? So if the block tag, like we added stuff for paragraph, yeah, I believe, yeah. So I wanted to see which one. Okay, we could. This is the only paragraph tag, I believe, style. So let's take away this paragraph style and save it. So let me take and go back to elements and let me bring this out. So this is the body. So where's our paragraph? Yeah, come on, not you. Look at the code here. Come on. Where okay, we have a paragraph here. This hello. So let's inspect this guy. Oh, sorry, not you. So this is it. You see that the paragraph by default has this star. These are the default styles of this paragraph. Every paragraph is a block style. A block, it's block. That means when it says block, it has that's a border, a padding, maybe a margin as well that wraps around it. So if you look at this guy, so this is the paragraph we added, and it has a margin start, margin block end, inline, and Unicode as well. So for it to have a margin, by default, it has a margin. So if you want to override it, let's go back to the style. I remove paragraph from this one. So I remove paragraph and we have paragraph to be, we added a font size of 1 rem. So if you go back to this, you see that our paragraph also you inherit style from this one. So if you want to override the imagine, okay, imagine I just copied all of this, for example, and just put it in my code and just say paragraph and do this. Then I can override the font. Let me say this is 2, this is 10, this is 10. So what do we observe from here? This is the default styling we made, but we've overridden the star, the value with this, sorry, with this value we have here. So this is the override. This is the comment the reviewer is trying to let you know that by default, each tag has its a star. So imagine one say the display of this guy should be inline instead of block. So how does it look? So it overrides the styling of the paragraph, and we have it as an inline instead of a block. So I hope you understand what he meant by default styling. Do you get that?
Yes, thank you, Hassan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome. All right, any other questions so far before we wrap up?
Hassan, now that we know grid and that grid seems to provide us more functionality than using Flexbox, is there any reason why we should use Flexbox over grid, or should we typically default to grid because of that added functionality?
Yeah, like you said, the CSS grid is like directional. That's 2D, so it make more sense to use the grid instead of the flex. But you can make both work the same way if you want, but it's since it provides more functionality, why not just use override leverage on those functionality instead of trying to make things work in a different way.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, any other question before we go? Okay, I think no more questions. So I think we can just wrap it up there today. Thanks everyone for joining. So see you next week. I think we are done with CSS, so maybe start doing some in getting into JavaScript there. Yeah, thanks a lot. See you.
Thanks, Hassan. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, you too. Cheers. Bye.